entire tournament. It was to Space Station yesterday. They're looking to obviously keep that number at 1.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Coastline, though. And we'll get map number 2 underway between Reciprocity and G2 Esports. Will the good people here in Montreal be sent home early? Or will they have to wait it out and sweat it out over a third map alongside the North American and the European teams? We'll find out in just an hour or so, as the first ban is going to be on a Ying from G2, so exactly the same as Clubhouse.
Yeah.
A Glaz ban coming out from Reciprocity, exactly the same as Clubhouse. Echo ban from Reciprocity, I don't think I need to say it again, exactly the same as Clubhouse.
But he did anyway.
I did it anyway.
Is it going to be a mirror, though? That's the question. We'll have a full mirror. Nope, it's going to be Maestro. So G2 with the upsets. Unfortunate. We're going to have slightly different operators played here, but on a map like Coastline, I can imagine the mirror being very useful for both teams, and G2 might want to use that early on, as they will be defending first. Double bar looks like going to be the first site for G2, and again, I think looking at this right now, Reciprocity have a good chance at bringing us to a map number 3 just based on the map and the playstyle that, you know, they bring to the table, really adhering well to this map. We're going to find out.
Never count them out. They are very aggressive. You can roam quite a lot on Coastline. It's not really easy for a lot of teams to attack. It's definitely not easy for teams to defend. The real telling side is going to be if G2 can rack up 2 or 3 early defensive victories.
Attackers need to
if you're looking at a 2-0 scoreline for G2 on defense, or a 3-0 scoreline on defense, I think it's pretty much a given at that point, especially with the fact that Reciprocity is trailing. That might be too insurmountable given the way that Coastline plays.
Yeah.
Something to keep in mind. It's not a given, but it's something just to have in your mind for when you see the first 2-3 rounds here.
It's worth noting that both of these teams have a really good record on this map, and neither of them really ban it ever. I don't think they really, in recent history, have. Typically, both G2 and Reciprocity win here, actually. So there's going to have to be some kind of upset no matter what if we're talking about a map record. I think also that G2, their roam style on defense plays well on this map. The fluid nature of their roam, and that you're going to spread yourself pretty far out, but you'll always be able to react quickly and support each other as a defensive team for G2. It's going to work well on Coastline, is mostly because it's essential. If you don't have a presence off site, then it can be really hard to hold a lot of these bomb sites. Vertical play is easily accessible to any attacking team if you give it away.
A bomb has been located.
It's funny that we're seeing a double bar defense without a mirror as well. A lot of teams like to bring her sticker inside a sunrise, at least one of those mirror windows. You're able to look all the way in towards the bomb site in blue. You can look in towards the office. Maybe even have a second black mirror upstairs as you want to hold hookah.
I mean,
it actually doesn't look like there's any hookah presence at all from G2 right now. In fact, it doesn't look like outside of Kanto Raketti roaming over by the top of main stairs. G2's bodies are down below, and Jonas has taken a lot of damage. There goes Goga as well to Retro, so Kanto will be recalled at some point as he almost narrowly misses every shot on Skies. Walks away, but man, he and Jonas are so low on HP.
Retro is taking a little bit of damage as well, but not nearly as much as you can see. Oh, it's going to be an easy dispatch of those 2 defenders if the reset never comes in, though you can expect it to happen, and in fact it will happen right here. It's going to be a little bit of time wasted, but it's defending, so it doesn't really matter. Rotation's still available for Fabian. He's got 2 impacts. He can use it at any moment to push out of the blue bar should he choose. Mark the Shark. Looks like he's going to take out Kanto Raketti, and that must have been an impressive shot.
I would imagine that was over by the blue bar where the reset was taking place.
Yeah, actually it looks like it was.
And you got Kanto, who had just been reset, as we noted. Jonas has not been reset, so he's still sitting at next to no HP. But a full HP Pengu is here playing the doorway instead of the foyer. Flash is going to go by, and Pengu crosses over. He sees Mark. Mark has a big advantage, misses the shots. And Pengu's able to get back as Fabian now under fire. Retro is down inside a kitchen, but Mark doing excellent work covering. He finally catches what little was left of Pengu. And what he'd softened up before, down goes Fabian, and the attackers have everything in their advantage. Reciprocity coming to life and a better round than we saw them being able to muster on most of Clubhouse will be concluded with a win. Don't even need that diffuser down from Mark the Shark. It's what, four members of Reciprocity end up surviving through the end of that round. That was domination.
A lot of gunfights there for Reciprocity and a very good roam clear. They didn't actually get all of their kills on the roam clear, though. What was most noticeable about the way the Reciprocity played is they pushed G2 back to the site. They forced the engagements to be in, well, the attacking team's favor. Following that, G2 had to fall back because they're smart and they're not going to take ooh, that was a very impressive shot from Mark. They're not going to take unnecessary fights. So once G2 fell back to site, and they did it so quickly, they lost so much control, they were exposed to the push inside from Reciprocity that it was a pretty easy hammer and anvil strategy, one we've seen numerous times, coming in from the side entrance and directly from in the building as well, coming from the east side to the west. That's a really nice attack from Reciprocity. I like that they were so assertive with taking control, especially toward the main lobby, not wasting any time at all. Speaking of not wasting, Mira will no longer be wasted potential here on G2, as they are going to bring her going to a kitchen defense.
Like I said, I was a little surprised actually that we didn't see a Mira being used there. I don't know how much of Reciprocity's playstyle could have directly been countered. I mean, you could have been able to hold blue a lot easier than with the actual physical presence that G2 had.
I would say some of the mirror windows could have been used to maybe hold on to kitchen. We've seen that done before when defending double bar. You can put a mirror window toward quick kitchen and just like a delayed roam there, castle barricade on the kitchen window. Once you start feeling pressure, fall back, sure, but there's an option to try and slow down Reciprocity. The thing is that G2 probably didn't expect the way that Reciprocity took in that last round, so they didn't set up to counter it. I think moving forward, G2 will probably have some kind of defensive strategy for that site.
Oh.
Mangu stands up. It looks like in retro will shut him down. Nice shot there to the Ash. Good position to be playing. Good angle. Right timing.
Well read. And once again, this is just the way Reciprocity plays on most maps. It was absent from Clubhouse, and it really could just come down to G2 being able to hold off on Reciprocity and be able to isolate them one by one by one. Many teams have noted that if you give G2 the opportunity to line everything up, they're going to make you pay for it. In a lot of those rounds, it just seems like Reciprocity didn't have the ability or either the knowledge to be able to get unpredictable. They didn't know where to rotate. They were too disconnected. Not exactly the case so far on Coastline, at least just at the start of this round, as Pengu was playing a little loose on his own. He gets hunted down by Retro, taken out of action. Now you've got Reciprocity upstairs holding quite a bit of control of that second floor. There's no presence from G2 outside of that first floor. You take a look, Fabian, Goga, Jonas, and Kanto are all either inside of both bomb sites or playing just outside of it. The person who is the farthest away from the site is Kanto, inside of Sunrise Bar. That's it.
Yeah, they're doing their best to hold on to site presence, but again, that vertical play, as we discussed, is going to be really hard to deal with. And as a C4 from Goga is missed, that's a very potent weapon that could have been something to shut down those attackers from above. Could have been from Goga, could have been from Jonas, either or, a C4 missed. Kanto Raketti still holding on Sunrise because he knows it's going to cut off the main hallway, allowing his teammates more safety. Goga goes for a run out, and he will get the kill. Not exactly the smartest play, but sometimes that's what's necessary to bring yourself out of a hole. And oh wow, Foxe exposing himself, and an impact and a run out from Fabian's gonna net the kill. Mark gets a Capitao Firebolt onto Goga, so it's a bit of a refrag here. Goga playing by delivery, and now that's an accessible plant spot.
And the ejected Mira move, that coverage all the way down to service, is going to be so tough. That delivery entrance is essentially free for Team Reciprocity. If they can get a smoke off, then yeah, the ejected Mira window can be helpful for a possible Nitro cell getting hucked on over, but there's none left, as Jonas had taken the bulletproof camera. Kanto will need to be tagged on in. A bevy of bullets will go out, and Fabian claims Retro as the other body goes in. Mark the Shark's second kill goes for the plant. Kanto gets one. There's Jonas. And G2 will take round two. As this Reciprocity's push into the site decides to falter a little bit and then completely fall to pieces. As the smoke clears, it's an easy finish off there for the Mute. And an answer from G2 after a pretty dominant start to this map by Reciprocity.
Reciprocity accomplished so very little with that vertical play. They also gave it away as soon as they had it. One of the things they can do, having control of top floor, is cut off rotation. That never happened. There was also a pretty sparse drone economy from Reciprocity. They didn't use them perfectly. A lot of droning themselves in as well. Mark managed to get that firebolt, which was a beautiful play. But yeah, overall,
10 seconds to go.
you shouldn't be droning for yourself. Definitely more information gathering is necessary on Reciprocity's side. More focus on the actual objective as well. You'll notice that Mark came in through delivery. He went for the plant. He covered himself. He even got a kill on the entry. He droned himself in. But where's everybody else? Where's the supporting staff? They're not doing anything from above. Answer, they're trying to flank from other angles. They're trying to come in for multiple tiered push. And also, G2, their aggression, managing to bring the man count so much back into their favor. Reciprocity needs to expect this, and they need to position people next to each other, allowing for, again, those refracts.
5 seconds.
G2 is 16-1 on Coastline in the last year. The only loss came to Liquid at DreamHack Winter. Wow.
Jeez. I mean, jeez.
I feel like it's a very genuine response from you. Just, oh my.
That's pretty ridiculous there. G2 seem to really like this map. And we've actually, we've seen them always play well on it. That's true. Reciprocity also tend to play well on it, though I guess not as well.
Also impressive that with not having the greatest season, G2 haven't dropped Coastline so far.
That's true, yeah. They've been having a bit of a mix and mash in terms of their Pro League season. So, impressive that they've managed to retain that record, certainly. They're going to be holding on to the kitchen here. It's not a defense of the kitchen, of course, as they can't do that. They just were successful there, but it's a roam in the kitchen, and a pretty dedicated one.
There's a number of poke holes that Kanto Ricchetti has in the wall. Look towards service. He got droned out by Retro.
This is actually exactly what I said G2 should do the last time they went to double bar. The only thing is they're not using the mirror windows there. They're holding on to kitchen, though. They've got an extended east roam. So, yeah. I like this adjustment from G2. It's exactly what would have been needed to counter Reciprocity. However, Reciprocity have also adjusted, and it's, well, so far not working out for them. Foxe goes down to Jonas. In the main lobby, bad information, bad droning from Reciprocity, and somewhat ironic that it's the Jackal to die to one of those runners.
Kanto's still waiting to see if Retro is going to engage him through that kitchen window, but there's been a lot of hesitation from Reciprocity as they now move on over. Back to the double bars where Reciprocity were successful before. Pengu on a roam of his own. Actually playing in right by the foyer to Sunrise. Will claim another kill for G2, shutting down the only set of smokes that aren't in that Capital bolt. So now you have Skies down 2. Not good for Reciprocity. There really hasn't been all that much. Reciprocity have struggled to get into the building, and they're going to continue to struggle as well. They have no map control. Mark the Shark falls to Pengu, as Pengu will find his second kill. Fabian inside of office looking for a kill of his own. He'll shred through Laxing, and Reciprocity have not been able to put a single thing together on this round. Only 40 seconds to go as the rest of G2 will just circle it on the site, realize that you don't need to play for kills at this point. The remaining member of Reciprocity is Retro. He's under 50 HP. He might be able to get an impactless frag on Jonas, which is impressive enough, but there's Kanto Ricchetti. And finally, double bars will go in favor of G2 Esports.
That was a pretty one-sided round there for G2. The change to push people into kitchen on the defense, have that roaming presence, a good calculation. It did trip up Reciprocity. They cleared the top floor, but doing that accomplished nothing. G2 were relying entirely on a horizontal roam. It worked out fantastically. And once Reciprocity started coming downstairs, they did so no force, none whatsoever. No one's droning for each other. The information is non-existent. It looked like Reciprocity were just trying to walk into a building and take fights like they don't have drones. And it makes little to no sense, especially on such a shallow map as Coastline.
The thing that's most telling about Team Reciprocity is the way that Mark the Shark has played on this matchup. Now, if you look based solely on numbers, Mark's performance in this entire tournament has not been the strongest. some of the weakest stats, but that's because of the way that Reciprocity uses it. In a pure supporting role, Mark is so infrequently in positions to get kills. On Coastline, they tend to use him in a way that he can possibly cover. He goes for the plant. He's not really on hard breach because Reciprocity does not run a lot of hard breach. Okay, but he's the only person on this team that seems to find himself in encounters that he can win. All of the rest of them, every single remaining member of Reciprocity, have struggled. Retro there is 3 kills. Okay, you're keeping pace with Mark a little bit, but one of those kills just came impactlessly in that previous round.
Yeah, Mark is a die-hard support player, and he's had some performances where he's gotten a lot of frags. The Ninjas in Pajamas match they had in the group stages is a good example in my opinion, and on Consulate especially, where Mark had some excellent
Bomb located by attackers.
excellent 4Ks and, oh no, wait, no, not 4Ks, 3Ks and 2Ks, really putting some kills together and supporting his team. But overall, yeah, not the sort of player you're going to expect to actually be getting frags reliably. And that's why you put him on Capital, who can frag but isn't a fragging operator.
You make it work when you need to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. That's kind of the nature of it. I mean, G2 has supporting operators, right? That are supporting players, like Goga, for example, but he doesn't only support. He also lands those shots when it's necessary. I think most players at this level of play at some point just consider themselves flex, and it's hard to really define their roles, but that's a story for another time. Reciprocity going to be clearing into Aquarium. They're trying to go for a basic strategy, I think, to try and focus things up and actually have a, concise site take.
The way you take hookah depends on your team's setup. You can go in through VIP and then clamp down that way. You're usually going to want to have some bodies down below. You might have a buck or some kind of soft destruction. Obviously, there's no buck on the lineup for Reciprocity, though. The soft destruction is going to come in the form of Retro, who you ride on board with, as well as Laxing, but he's on Repel. He's still got those 2 explosive blasts from the lifeline that can be used to open up the wall. It appears that there will be a little bit of that done. And Goga just wide peeks Foxay. Beautifully well done, and his stim pistol gave Goga a little bit of an extra fighting chance, but there was no return fire from Foxay that Goga had to worry about. It's not really a loss at all for G2 in any real capacity there. You've also got Fabian downstairs as Smoke, who's just watching to see about the main stairs. Goga could possibly have another body lined up. Pengu falls to Laxing on Repel, so Reciprocity just trying to hold everybody down. What a shot from Goga! My. Laxing on that window just gets picked apart. Smoke's going down, Goga looking for another. He'll be able to get himself back to full HP, or at least close to it if he wants to. Kanto comes on in, Retro takes out Fabian. Goga losing a little bit of HP in the process, using his final stim pistol. As Jonas has been downed, it's all up to Goga and Kanto. Twitch drone goes out from Skies as flank watch as he watches all the way in towards A. And prone on the floor is Goga, who'll find another, looking for a 4th. Goga, my. The man is unshakable, playing inside of pink. This is what, 3 rounds in a row for G2?
3 rounds indeed, Parker, and what a round from Goga, specifically the 4K. I mean, he could have gotten that 5K, to be honest, if Kanto or Ketty hadn't have come to support him. It was a pretty easy hold there for Goga by himself at the mini bar. Surprised that there was not more done by Reciprocity to deal with this player. But at that point, it looked like they had just lost so much of the utility they would have used on a push like that. For example, Zofia had no opportunity to get the lifelines off. Why? Dead in the first couple seconds of the attack onto site. So good round from Goga and a stalwart defense of that specific bar inside of Billiards. Now, G2 to look unshakable so far throughout this match. And Reciprocity have, in total, gotten 3 rounds over these last 2 maps. It's not over yet, but G2 are in great form.
I mean, you take 3 rounds on Coastline, you need 1 more, and then you can walk away being pretty damn happy about what actually happened for your team. It's more just the utter domination from G2. Now that round in particular was so close. It literally just came down to Goga going absolutely Hulk mode of 4K. He was unshakable, as I believe I said. Everybody fed right into him. But I mean, you had tools at your disposal to possibly force him out. I believe there was an asphyxiating bolt that went down on the other side of that wall, which started to tick away at some of Goga's HP after he'd been picked back up by his own stim pistol. But you had a Zofia on the board. He's playing in a position where you could have done a lot of damage, but you don't get it. Oh well. So round number 5. Kanto Raketti going for the early run out, and we'll not find anything there. All right, pretty standard. It's going to be a kitchen defense for G2 Esports. In fact, that play that Kanto did where you punch a couple holes in the barricade is pretty commonplace. It's very popular among the other levels of play that we see in Rainbow Six.
Prepping a window or a door.
Yep.
And then you can run out from it if you play it right. Of course, it's 3 melees to break a barricade, but you can 2 melee it and shoot the extra parts to make it accessible if you want to crouch out. There's only 1 anchor on site right now. It's Goga alone. He's playing smoke, so the perfect operator to hold on to this, but still alone. We've got Pengu in Sunrise Bar, and that's the next closest defensive operator. So this is not going to be an easy hold if Reciprocity get wind of this. The thing is, again, the information gathering for Reciprocity has been so bad. Foxay is going to take down Jonas, but refrag from Kanto Raketti, and Reciprocity are currently trying to fight the 4 roamers instead of hitting the 1 anchor.
A little bit different from what we saw in the last kitchen defense from G2, where they had everybody that was within the site except for 1. That was Kanto, who's playing in Sunrise Bar. Now it's Pengu who's actually in Sunrise Bar, but he's watching the door, and he could possibly go for a run out of his own. He could be very nimble, though. He's a 3 armor, but he does have an ACOG. He might actually get spotted. There might be a slight alert of his position if he waits out there a little bit too long. Puzzlingly, Fabian took all that damage that you see within the first 30 seconds of the round. Possibility of a reset, but I mean, why bother at this point? He's just going to play down inside of security, and with those Legion mines, he's able to hold down that position so well. He's going to get, no, not spotted at all. Laxing at the main doorway with Mark guiding him on in, as once again, this hesitation from Reciprocity to get into the site. Kanto will peek around that main desk, an opportunity for somebody to possibly jump on him, and there's Retro, an easy kill. No trade-off for G2 in that situation.
Goga's holding on to kitchen pretty firm, using that smoke. Gas canisters go out as we're on the last 30 seconds here, and well, man advantage here for Reciprocity, but the positions for G2 are fantastic, and they've already started to bring people back to site. Fabian's on the long roam, and he's going to come up behind Retro, who does not expect it in all likelihood. Yes, indeed, a free kill for Fabian. The 2 anchors from G2 are holding on quite easily. Mark tries to isolate delivery, and he's going to push on in, but it's a shotgun from Goga. At any moment, that could be his demise, and yes, indeed, it will. It just takes a while. It's going to be down to Skies and 1 other, but it doesn't matter at this point. There's no time. G2 wasting so much time from the roamers, coming back to anchor when the time is right, and it was a no-hope attack for Reciprocity.
I'm actually a little disappointed at the last 2 rounds that we have seen out of Reciprocity.
Just a
3
little,
rounds
Parker?
almost.
I mean...
Well, I mean, Reciprocity is not playing up to their full potential. Yes, a lot of credit needs to go to G2 and how they are continuously rotating.
Yeah.
They are starving Reciprocity from information with mute plays, with vigil plays, by killing all the drones. But it just seems like Reciprocity are almost scared to get in the building. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a full total lack of information. I don't know if it's lack of confidence. I don't know if it's worry. I don't know if it's pressure getting to them. I don't think it would be pressure because 4 players on this team have played in tougher circumstances.
Yeah. I personally think it's the information. I'm looking at the top down constantly, Parker, and I'm just not seeing any drones being used from Reciprocity. That's the way it seems. A lot of solo droning as well. And again, that last round, we saw Mark by himself trying to push in through delivery. No support, no cover, no one else to pick up the diffuser should he die, or get a refrag should he die. It just is it's a puzzling way to attack on coastline, and it's unfortunate. We have seen some rounds where Reciprocity tried them to stack up all of their players on one lane and push all together. For example, that 4K from Goga. How did that happen? Everyone on Reciprocity pushed from Aquarium. Well, all but 1. 4 people did. And, well, actually, no. All 5, yeah, because Kanto Raketti got that 1 kill in Billiards. Anyway, everybody from Reciprocity pushed from Aquarium, but they all did it 1 by 1. Nobody droning each other in. So little information. They were expecting default positions, and that's why Reciprocity even came close in that round, but it didn't work out.
So at least for Reciprocity, this hesitation and reluctance to hop into the building and be able to take map control will be over in just a matter of moments, as this is their final round on attack. Both Kanto and Skies will engage, and Kanto will fall as Skies re-engages, gets the kill inside a kitchen. That gives Retro an opportunity to walk in and Fox A inside a bathroom. Hey, Reciprocity's actually got some semblance of map control here. It's not too far for Retro. His next encounter is going to be Goga playing on the Cool Vibe stairs. Time to reset Skies, which is perfect for Reciprocity, as you've seen Retro and Fox A have taken a little bit of damage as well. There goes Pengu, as Retro will find one. That was Pengu playing down inside of B. It's a double bars setup, so the transition for Reciprocity. Now they've got control of the main lobby. Now they've got control of the bathroom. They've got control of the kitchen. They need to get into the site.
It's been some great droning in this round in particular. Mark allowed for Retro to get those 2 kills. Retro's going for more, and meanwhile the side entrance push, oh no, bad positioning on the smokes. Laxing will take out Goga in exchange, but it's overall a loss here for Reciprocity as they attempt to push into Sunrise Bar. Retro coming up from behind still inside a kitchen. He could be a huge playmake in this round, and Eunice will be pushing into Blue Bar. So it's still full control for G2 despite only having 2 players on the board. For by South Office, it's going to be Skies to shut down Jonas as he gets a little too aggressive and gets punished because of it. Fabian, though, who's already gotten 1, will get another. That's 2 for him. He's going to need to ace this round. He gets the 3K. He's going for 4. He knows there's somebody in South Office, and Retro has just been languishing inside of Kitchen for the whole round. Laxing going to be pushing over to Garden and trying to establish a new angle onto Legion. He's just waiting inside a Blue Bar. Low HP on the Legion, and he's waiting it out, using his gadget to give him information on a push into Sunrise. This is the perfect position for Fabian. He doesn't need to move at all. He knows no one's coming from South Office because he heard the rotation and the Zofia lifeline elsewhere. 16 seconds left. Fabian just waiting. It's a rotation over to default plant spot. Fabian has the information being called out from his teammates Valkyrie Cam, but Retro gets him on the cross. In Kitchen, the whole round, Retro with 3 kills from this position.
Curious decision-making there from Fabian, not to bother to look towards the right. You know you've got 2 bodies left on Reciprocity. Where are they going to be? Well, you've got 1 on a ping. You know that he's going to try to plan in the default spot inside a Sunrise Bar. Where could the other one possibly be? Maybe up top? Maybe in Kitchen? Likely watching the plant. And where's the best avenue to do that? It's going to be either at the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs, it's going to be over by Blue Bar, which Fabian can know that there was nobody over there because he was just there himself. Why don't you look towards Kitchen? Just a small oversight. But it's an oversight that ended up costing them the round. And now G2 emerges with a 4-2 lead heading in towards their attack. All maps have the distinction of being defender-sided. Yes, the Coastline is one of the few maps where the attackers can still rack up victories, especially if they play really well coordinated. It's a good time for a timeout, I think, though you can possibly have saved it, and if Reciprocity mounts a comeback, G2 will be without the ability to take a timeout. But you might as well take one now and try to put this one away.
Certainly the right time, I think. You could prepare yourself for an attack and set up some expectations for the site that you're going to be playing on based on previous experience against this team, though I'm sure G2 probably had that going into things, or going into this match from the get-go. Retro was such a hero in that last round, and that's the thing. Reciprocity need those hero plays. They need to have players step up, present themselves as able to win gunfights, able to shut down the opponent, and able to lock out rotations like Retro did. I mean, all he did was, again, he played inside a Kitchen, he got the initial frag into Kitchen, and then he just cut off rotation between the sites, allowed for a push into default. That was the plan from Reciprocity from the get-go. The problem was, at the start, Reciprocity didn't lay down a smoke properly by Sunrise Bar, allowing for the rotation into default. Either that or Reciprocity was leaving that angle open so Laxing could get the refrag. Because if you get the refrag on the player in Sunrise Bar, then there's nobody playing Sunrise Bar, and your rotation being cut off is even more powerful, even more potent for Reciprocity. That's in the past now. The Reciprocity managed to make it work. Now they have to make defense work, and they're going to start on Penthouse, which is very interesting.
Hasn't been
5
played yet.
seconds
The only
left.
site that hasn't been played in this particular matchup.
Yep.
Attackers recovered
It's
the
an odd
diffuser.
site. I mean,
Attackers are moving out
at the beginning of
locate a bomb diffuser.
Coastline, I think it was hailed as the best site on the map, but it took a real swift turn.
This is before operator bans.
Yep.
That was way back. I mean, Coastline.
Way
is now,
back.
Coastline is now an old map.
It's true,
By most
actually.
standards, right?
Yeah.
Also, Mira is unbanned though, and Mira is usually a reason why Penthouse Theater tends to be more defendable than not. But there's no Mira on the board. So you have an opportunity for Reciprocity to use Mira, and they won't.
Interesting stats
Bomb
here.
located by
So you can see
attackers.
G2 are very good at refragging their teammates, especially on defense. One thing we've talked about a lot. When you got a G2 roamer, it's often there will be another G2 roamer not 5 seconds away. It allows for them to get so many more refrags. Reciprocity, again, the lack of refrags is also telling of the lack of teamwork, the lack of synergy, the lack of coordination, whatever you want to call it. They haven't been working together as a team. They've been having a lot of rounds where people just do individual things like, for some reason, standing in the middle of the B-bomb site, giving away picks to Pengu on the main east window.
And that's your smoke that you just lost.
Yeah, it's about as bad as it gets.
And right where Kanto Raketti stands right now inside a Hall of Fame, that's a perfect place to just be able to smoke off. G2's in sight. Mark the Shark cuts down Kanto Raketti, but Jonas and Fabian get two of their own. Say goodbye to Goga. Oh no, diffuser down inside of A. Fabian losing a lot of HP in the process, but takes out Mark the Shark. And where, oh where, is
Attackers have
Lax?
recovered their diffuser.
Coming on up from luggage, but he's got 3 bodies. Plant going down on the couch, and Laxing peeks around the corner. Sees one, takes out Fabian, but Pengu pops up. That's easy work for G2. A very quick one. And they find themselves up 5-2 now. Pengu falls off the diffuser. And there you go, an easy finish.
Tactically, that was an amazing round from G2, if we're being honest. I mean, the Habana rushed into Projector with the diffuser in hand, could have potentially just gone for a plant, was likely expecting some counter plant from below or something along those lines. That's probably the call that we actually had G2 make when they used their tactical timeout. Hey, they're not gonna expect us to just run site and try to go for frags, as that's what they know we expect out of them. And of course, Reciprocity coming out on the wrong end of that. Expectations not right where they should be, and G2 taking full advantage. Just, yeah, rushing site.
And I mean, the craziest part too was that, look at, we just got to see that for a second there, was Mark took out Goga. There was full control of Master or Penthouse. You could have just gotten the plant down, Goga. You just plant.
Like I said,
That's what you do. That's what you do best.
Tactically not a smart round for
No.
G2.
But they had so much room to breathe that they could just throw some of it away, I guess. You know?
I mean, why not?
Chances, why not?
They are
Bomb
winning
located
most of
by
their
attackers.
gunfights right now, right? Why should they be playing smart,
10 seconds
tactical,
left
and
before
slow?
insertion.
Especially on a map like Coastline. I mean,
5 seconds left.
they've got such a good record here, too. I think a big part of it is how dynamic they are with their play.
Attackers
They're able to
recovered the diffuser.
play that slow,
Attackers
methodical game
objective
if
is
necessary,
defuse the bomb.
or just rush the building, I suppose.
16-1 is a hell of a record.
Yeah, I actually, know,
For a map.
when I first saw that, I honestly thought it was round count. I was like, but that doesn't make any sense. There's no way they're not dropping rounds. But yeah, map count, it's very impressive.
Losing it to Liquid, that was the DreamHack Winter matchup right after Gohan and Palu had stepped onto that roster, and they looked so frightening, as they still do. But at the time, there was a lot of big question marks about that new Liquid roster with 2 very capable players being added to it. So not a bad squad to lose that map to, all things considered. And it's also a very good map for Liquid. Pengu's gonna toss in 1 grenade, doesn't cook it at all, tosses in the other.
I think he's just trying to clear out utility with those grenades. That's got to be the reasoning behind them. It's a pretty specific take here right now for G2 on the South office.
Very fast. Once again, G2 realizing, hey, we can try to just rush into the site and be able to push Reciprocity back. The only person that's really watching it all is Skies, and Goga's right next to him, going for a plant. Is there any actual cover? Yes, Kanto Raketti, smoke goes out, Goga taking damage, but he'll be able to get this one off. He pushes on in, down goes Skies. G2 realize they have complete control. Fabian adds to it, things falling to pieces. Foxay trying to battle back, he takes out Jonas, but still, this is grave circumstances. Down goes Foxay and Laxing again, a little bit too far off. He's got 4 from G2. Sees 1, can he engage with Fabian? Yes, he can, but he's gonna get doubled up on. The world champs are match point and 1 round away from giving themselves a chance to defend that crown in the grand finals.
Well, that was another really fast round from G2, and their attacks look even more vicious than their defense. The way that the round played out was pretty surgical as well, not bothering with the many roamers that we saw Reciprocity setting up elsewhere, and instead just deciding to, hey, we're gonna take South Office. After we take South Office, we're gonna hit Blue Bar, and that's a done deal. It was a rush from G2, using their utility very wisely, and hey, it worked out. Fabian was the one to come in from elsewhere and do a lot of damage, but Fabian alone, and it was post-plant that he started to really do work as the Dokkaebi. Also, this is another big deal. Dokkaebi is one of those operators where if you put her detached from the rest of the team, yes, okay, you lose a lot when she dies, and yes, you don't have the smoke grenades, but she can always influence the take using her ability. So even if she's not assisting your push directly with her smokes, she's going to assist it with the phone calls. And yeah, that was a really good attack from G2, and not a whole lot of hold on the blue bar for Reciprocity. You could see that Reciprocity are just going to keep going from site to site, but unlike what we typically see in this defensive meta, they're going from site to site because they're losing them, and they're not sure how to hold, trying to find something that will work. And now, this could potentially be Reciprocity's very last chance.
We knew going into this that a good team would not make it out of this matchup alive. Reciprocity, certainly not out, but they're certainly down for the time being, and this is a really big hole to dig yourself out of. But you gotta take chances, and Foxay will do so. Fabian is just waiting for him to rush right back in. You're gonna be able to get him. He's completely exposed outside. Pressure him. He's disappeared. There you go. You were detected, but no, somehow Foxay might actually be able to get this kill. But Goga's there, and there's going to be 3 bodies going after Foxay. He's like a trapped animal. He finally gets down. There you go. But an impact grenade also got tossed out, trying to see if you could maybe take some damage. Onto G2's side of things. Fabian can still get reset, and a good gamble from Reciprocity.
Foxay just took the definition of roaming to a whole new level. That was an interesting play, and yeah, sure, one that you might see from time to time in casual, but not often at the highest level of play. It actually worked out very well for Foxay, though. He wasted a good amount of time, and he took down Cantor Teddy.
Through 2 rounds, G2 has wisely read into Reciprocity's defense that Laxing is too far removed. It's one of the main issues with a deep solo roam or a late flank is that if things go south very quickly, you are usually not in a position where you can get back to help at all. So if your gambit that, hey, I can get an early pick, I can waste lots of time, doesn't work out, and the attackers just rush into the site as G2 has wisely done, you're often completely impactless in the round. You don't really have much of a usage here. It's been the issue with Laxing overall over these 2 rounds in particular. It's been unfortunate because his fragging potential could have been really helpful for Reciprocity.
Laxing will be on that detached solo roam as you discussed. It's going to be down in the blue bar. He's got the C4 and he can't be useful. He doesn't commit to that hole, and because of that, Jonas will not be caught off guard. What a call. That had to have been a teammate. Otherwise, excellent game sense from Jonas to allow for that to happen. And wow, man advantage now in favor of G2, and it's going to get even worse.
Pegu takes one down as Mark is there. Phone calls ringing, 1 body left. G2, there you have it. They'll repeat back to the grand finals. They have a chance to raise that hammer one more time. They want it. And Reciprocity's triumphant run comes to an end. It's going to be an all-EU final as the Russian squad of Team Empire will take on the reigning, defending world champions of G2 Esports.
A very dominant match there for G2. 2 7-2s, and a pretty fast one overall. Reciprocity just didn't seem to be in it the same way we were expecting them to be, and didn't put up much of a fight.
Round count over the 2 games was 14-4. That might actually be the most lopsided match that we've seen in the quarters and semis now.
I gotta say I'm surprised, Parker, especially again after what we saw in G2 versus Space Station. I was thinking that maybe we'd see Reciprocity, another NA team, bring it home for their region and go to those finals. They might have been able to push past or even just put up a fight, but it did not happen. That was a really one-sided one.
Even the rounds that I think we saw Reciprocity win, there were too many of them that came down to the wire.
No.
There was a couple from G2 as well, don't get me wrong, but it was a grind for Reciprocity. Even when they were winning, it still looked like they were struggling, and I think there's some things for them to review as they head back to North American Pro League when it resumes, looking to try and stay in the race for that playoff spot.
Yeah. Well, they're out of this race, at least for now, and because of that, we're going to have, it looks like, a double European finals. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure, and team that has the title of world champion right now, G2 against Empire. I mean,
all right, well, that's all for you and I, and as the replays end, we have Matt ready to talk to the defending world champions, and we'll see. We got the Team Empire G2 matchup tomorrow, and we'll see you for that. But first, Matt, take it away.
Thank you, Intero. Thank you, Kix. Oh, look! We got G2 in the grand final! No criticism of Team Reciprocity, you put in a good match there, but I think there's something special about having a reigning world champion in the final to defend that trophy, and you got there, Fabian. Bit more of a, maybe an easier match, I guess, than perhaps even you expected, given what we saw of Team Reciprocity yesterday. Any words for them? You were so kind about SSG yesterday. What do you have to say about Reciprocity?
I think that they're a great team. I would actually like to welcome them to the stage because I think they deserve a big applaud for getting so far as they have. The game, the score might not have been as close as we expected it to be, but it was a great game.
Reciprocity, come out here. I keep getting asked in interviews, occasionally people ask me questions. What do you think it is that's special about Rainbow6? What do you think it is that's special about this community as an esport? This, ladies and gentlemen, how much respect the pros have for each other. I talk about this all the time. I see it with all of our teams, how much respect and love there is amongst you all. Look at this right now, G2 bringing their opponents out. And I know Nora Rengo nearly had a chance to come out earlier on as well. So here we are. All these brothers together, but G2, you go to our grand final. How much does it matter to you? You've done this a number of times now.
The next game is everything. I don't need to say more than that.
Yes, you do.
Not really. The game that we play next tomorrow, it's the biggest game this game has ever seen, and we're going to go there to win it.
Does it matter to you that it's an all-EU final? Do you feel like that's representative of the region?
I couldn't care less who we play. We could play Martians for all I care. We're going to beat them.
That's a game we'd like to see. I'm curious, Fabian. We know G2 is this super powerhouse of a team. We know you can turn up and win tournaments. We know you can do it from losing positions, as we saw at the Invitational last year. But this year, this tournament in particular, I'm going to be honest with you like I always am. I detect slightly less swagger than usual. I don't mean that as a lack of confidence or skill. I mean that as you are always very confident. You're always saying how you feel. But G2 this year feel a little bit more serious and determined in that way. How does it feel to you?
I feel we've had a rough season online, but now we're on LAN. This is our arena. We have been here many times. We've won a lot of events. We plan to win this one too.
They plan to win this one. They plan to lift the new hammer. To do it, they will face Team Empire tomorrow in our grand final. Congratulations again. G2 are here to defend the hammer.
And to the surprise and shock of nobody, from here to Mars and beyond, G2, the grand final, the reigning world champions, they're back at it again.
go a few months back to some of the EU Pro League where people were starting to doubt if G2 still had it, if they could still, make it far, even make it to Invitational, make it to some of the finals, the semifinals. I think people are realizing